Have you ever wondered why some people pray, visualize, and affirm, but nothing happens? The silent truth that few realize is that there is a crucial difference between ordinary faith and scientific faith, a difference that Wattles discovered more than a century ago and that most people still ignore today. Wattles said, "Faith is not believing that God can. Faith is knowing that God has already done." This single sentence contains the secret that transforms everything. Because most people practice a faith of hope. They wait for something to happen. They want something to change. They beg for transformation. And while they wait, they continue to vibrate exactly the same frequency that they have always vibrated, the frequency of lag. But scientific faith is completely different. Scientific faith is based on knowledge of the immutable laws of the universe. It is understanding that just as gravity does not need your permission to function, the law of manifestation also operates incessantly without your consent. It just waits for you to understand it and use it correctly. Stop for a moment. Reflect. How many times have you asked with faith, but deep down, there was a persistent doubt? How many times have you affirmed abundance with your lips, but felt scarcity in your heart? How many times have you visualized an outcome, but secretly feared the opposite? It is this doubt that destroys the power of your intention. Imagine a woman who deeply desires a loving relationship. She meditates, visualizes her ideal partner, does daily affirmations. But every night, when she lies alone, she feels an emptiness in her chest. Every time you see a happy couple, you feel a pang of envy. Every party she attends alone reinforces her belief that something is missing. This woman is paying lip service to her faith. She wants to believe, but she doesn't truly believe. Wattles understood something that modern science is only beginning to validate. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between what you say you want and what you truly feel. Your body, this biological transmitter of frequencies, emits signals based not on your words, but on your internal state. In the universe, this infinite and responsive intelligence cannot do anything other than match your vibration. The hidden flaw in conventional faith is that it attempts to change external circumstances without first transforming the internal state. It's like trying to change your shadow without changing your posture. It is a physical impossibility. True faith is not a desperate plea thrown to the heavens. It is not a negotiation with the divine. It's not a burning desire for what you don't have. True faith is a state of absolute certainty. It is knowing, beyond any doubt, that what you seek is already yours on the spiritual plane and is, at this very moment, moving toward manifestation on the physical plane. Wattles didn't teach how to ask. He taught how to receive as if he had already received. This is the first big revelation. Your faith fails not because of a lack of intensity, but because of a lack of internal alignment. It fails because, while its words ask for abundance, its vibrational frequency continues to transmit scarcity. The universe is not a reward system for good behavior. It is not an entity that judges your merits and decides whether you are worthy of receiving it. The universe is a perfect vibrational matching mechanism, an impersonal law that responds with mathematical precision to the frequency you emit. This is the central revelation of Wattles' teachings. The universe does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you vibrate to be. Most people misunderstand this principle. They think that to manifest abundance, they must think about abundance. But thinking is only the surface of consciousness. Your true vibration emerges from the depths of your being, from what you truly believe to be true. At the most fundamental level, imagine a man who every day affirms his prosperity. He repeats mantras, visualizes abundance, and says he believes. But when he looks at his bank account, his stomach sinks. When you see your bills, you feel scared. When you think about the future, you feel anxiety. This man is trying to fool the universe. You are trying to emit one frequency with your conscious mind while your body and subconscious emit the exact opposite frequency. It's like trying to play the different melodies on the same piano at the same time. The result is dissonance of vibrational cacophony that cannot produce coherent results. Wattles taught that to truly change your reality, you need to change your vibration at the deepest level. And that starts with honestly acknowledging what you truly believe. How many times have you found yourself saying, "I believe in abundance," while secretly planning for scarcity? How many times have you claimed perfect health while mentally preparing yourself for illness? How many times have you declared confidence while inwardly shaking with fear? This vibrational dissonance is what sabotages your manifestation efforts. Modern science is beginning to validate what Wattles already knew. Your thoughts and emotions are not mere brain chemicals isolated in your skull. They are electromagnetic frequencies that extend beyond the limits of your body and interact with the quantum field around you. Every emotionally charged thought you hold sends ripples out into the universe. And these waves, like any wave in physics, interact with other waves, attracting or repelling experiences that match their frequency. The reason your faith isn't producing results is simple: you're giving off mixed signals. One part of you says yes while another part whispers no. One part of you reaches out to receive while another part contracts in fear. A part of you claims worthiness while another part considers yourself unworthy. In the universe, that perfect mirror of your internal vibrations can only reflect back that same confusion. Wattles taught that scientific faith requires total alignment of perfect harmony between thought, emotion, and belief. It's not enough to think positively if your body is tense with fear. It's not enough to visualize wealth if your heart doubts your worth. For your faith to work scientifically, you need to vibrate the same frequency on all levels of your being. Your intellect, your emotions, your subconscious beliefs, and even your physical body must be in complete harmony, all singing the same note of absolute certainty. Only when you achieve this vibrational coherence can the universe respond with the same coherence. Only when you send out a clear and unambiguous signal can you receive back a clear and unambiguous result. Most of us have been taught to have faith in the future, when in fact, scientific faith operates in the now. This is perhaps the most radical turn in Wattles' thinking, the understanding that time, as we experience it linearly, is largely an illusion when it comes to spiritual manifestation. Think about how many times you have projected your faith forward. One day I will have. Soon I will receive. I am on the path to achieve. These statements seem positive, but they contain a fundamental flaw. They anchor their achievement in the future, which paradoxically keeps it always in the future, never in the present. Wattles wrote, "Thought is the only force that can produce tangible riches from formless substance. But for this thought to be effective, it must exist in the now, not as a future hope, but as a present reality." Have you ever noticed how some people seem to effortlessly attract opportunities? How do they navigate life with a calm confidence, as if they know something others don't? These people are not waiting for something to happen tomorrow. They are vibrating now as if they have already received it. They are not heading towards success. They are already successful simply by seeking the next expression of the success that already lives within them. This change in temporal perspective is profoundly transformative, because when you live from the place of "I have already received" rather than "I hope to receive," you fundamentally change your vibrational frequency. Imagine what your life would be like if you truly believe, not with hope, but with absolute certainty, that everything you desire has already been granted on the spiritual plane and is now just manifesting on the physical plane. How would you walk? How would you speak? How would you breathe? How would you treat the people around you? You would probably be more relaxed, more generous, more trusting, and more patient. You would not act with desperation or anxiety, because you would know that what you seek is already yours. You would simply live from this state of wholeness, allowing the physical manifestation to occur in its perfect time. This is the essence of scientific faith in the present, living now, as if you were already what you want to become. It's not pretense. It is not self-deception. It is a conscious alignment with a spiritual truth that on the non-physical plane, where all manifestation begins, time does not exist in the same way as on the physical plane. In the quantum realm, everything exists simultaneously in an eternal now. When you transfer your faith from the future to the present, you tune into this quantum reality. You stop sending waves of want out into the universe, which can only return more want, more unsatisfied desire. Instead, you send out waves of have, which must, by law, return more have. Wattles understood this intuitively, decades before quantum physics began to validate these concepts. He realized that true faith is not a long road to a distant destination. It is an awakening to what is already true at the most fundamental level of reality. Therefore, your faith does not work when it remains anchored in the future. It can only work when you bring it fully into the present moment, living now as if it is already what you want to become. This is the secret to breaking the cycle of when I have it, then I will be happy, happiness, fulfillment, certainty. These states of being are not the results of manifestation. They are the necessary precursors of it. If faith is a force that operates according to precise laws, then it is essential to understand its mechanics, the how behind its operation. Wattles was one of the first to approach spirituality not as a system of mystical beliefs, but as an exact science with verifiable principles. Do not try to project your will or your thoughts out into space, wrote Wattles. Stay in your own place, and your vibration will reach the ends of the universe. This instruction seems to contradict much of what has been taught in spiritual traditions. Most of us have been conditioned to believe that we need to send our thoughts and prayers outward, as if the divine is somewhere far away, requiring our messages to travel through space to reach it. Wattles understood that this is a fundamental misinterpretation of reality. The creative principle, call it God, universe, source, or any other name, is not far away. It is everywhere, permeating everything, including you. There is no separation. The divine is not out there. It is in here and everywhere simultaneously. When you understand this, the mechanics of faith change completely. You are no longer trying to project energy to a distant point in the universe. You are simply changing your own vibrational frequency, and the entire universe responds instantly because you are an integral part of it. Think of a seed. She does not strive to become a tree. She doesn't fight. She doesn't force. She doesn't beg the heavens for growth. It simply aligns with the natural laws of growth. It absorbs water, receives sunlight, extracts nutrients from the soil. She trusts the process, even when she is in the dark. Likewise, scientific faith is not about effort. It's about alignment. Most of us were taught to force, to fight, to strive. We believe we need to make it happen through sheer willpower. But scientific faith operates on a different principle, the principle of attraction through alignment. When you align yourself internally with the frequency of what you want to experience externally, you activate the law of correspondence. You don't have to make the law work. It is already working perfectly all the time. You just need to put yourself in harmony with it. This alignment occurs on three distinct levels: thought, feeling, and action. At the level of thought, you cultivate an unshakable mental certainty. You don't try to believe, you just know. Your mind becomes a clear channel for the truth you want to manifest. At the feeling level, you generate and sustain emotions that correspond to the state of having already received. You feel the gratitude, joy, security, and fulfillment that would naturally accompany the full manifestation of your desires. And at the level of action, you move through the world as if your manifestation were already a concrete reality. You make decisions, interact with others, and conduct your business from a place of abundance, not scarcity. When these three levels are in perfect harmony, when you think, feel, and act as if you have already received, you become a perfect conduit for the flow of universal energy. You are no longer blocking or resisting this flow with doubts, fears, or contradictory beliefs. You are allowing it to pass through you unhindered. And here is the most fundamental part of the mechanics of faith: consistency. Your vibration must remain constant, even when faced with seemingly contradictory evidence in the physical world. This is why Wattles emphasized the importance of thinking a certain way continually, not just sporadically. Manifestation does not occur through momentary peaks of high vibration, but through a frequency sustained over time. Scientific faith is trusting the process even when you are still in the dark. It is knowing that the underground seed is developing, even when no sprout is visible above the ground. It is understanding that the physical plane always follows the spiritual plane, but with a temporal delay that requires patience and persistence. Wattles' most profound teaching on scientific faith involves a radical transformation, not just in what you do, but in who you are. You don't attract what you want, he taught. You attract what you are. This statement reveals a fundamental truth about manifestation that most contemporary approaches ignore. Outer transformation begins with an inner transformation of identity. Think for a moment, who do you believe you are at the most fundamental level? Not your aspiration or desires, but your essential identity. Do you see yourself as someone who is always striving for more? Someone always in the process of becoming? Someone constantly searching for something outside of themselves? Or do you see yourself as someone who is already complete? Someone who is already abundant? Someone who already has everything they need and is simply allowing it to manifest on the physical plane? The difference between these two identities is what determines how your faith works. Let's consider a concrete example. There's a man I met who spent years struggling financially. He worked hard, saved, planned, but never seemed to move forward. He constantly saw himself as someone trying to get rich, someone seeking prosperity, someone on the path to abundance. Did you notice something? All of these identities are anchored in absence, not presence. They all define who he is by the lag, by the distance between him and his goal. One day, he came across Wattles' teachings and decided to do a radical experiment. Instead of focusing on what he didn't have, he began living as if he was already prosperous. Not in the way he spent money that would be unwise, but in the way he saw himself internally. He stopped identifying himself as someone trying to get rich and began seeing himself as someone who is rich in essence, allowing that wealth to manifest completely on the physical plane. When he saw something he wanted, instead of thinking, "I can't afford that," he thought, "This is already mine in essence, and it will come to me at the perfect time." When he received bills, instead of feeling anxiety, he felt gratitude for his ability to pay them, even before he had the money in hand. This change of identity was not pretension or denial. It was a profound alignment with a spiritual truth that at the most fundamental level of reality, all abundance already exists and is available to all. What determines our experience is not the existence of this abundance, but our ability to align with it through our vibrational identity. Within 6 months, his financial situation began to change. Opportunities arose, ideas came, connections formed. Not because he was manipulating the universe, but because he had aligned himself with the law of prosperity through an identity transformation. This is the difference between making wealth and being wealth, between seeking health and being health, between looking for love and being love. When you try to do or get something, you are implicitly asserting that you do not have it. When you become something in essence, you emit the frequency that automatically attracts its physical counterpart. This transformation of identity is what allows the transmutation from faith as request to faith as a state of being. Instead of asking the universe to change your circumstances, you change who you are, and your circumstances inevitably follow. Notably, this change is not superficial. It is not simply adopting new thoughts or words. It's a reconnection with your essential self, that part of you that is already complete, abundant, and connected to the source of everything. Wattles understood that each human being is an individualized expression of universal intelligence with direct access to all the power and abundance of that source. The only barrier is the limited identity we adopt through social conditioning, past experiences, and inherited beliefs. When you dissolve this limited identity and embrace your true nature, you remove the main obstacle to manifesting your desires. You stop being someone who wants and become someone who is. And the universe has no choice but to reflect this new state of being in its external reality. The beauty of Wattles' teachings is in their practicality. He didn't just offer an abstract philosophy, but an applicable system with specific protocols for daily implementation. Let's explore how you can apply scientific faith to your everyday life, transforming it from an intellectual concept into a lived practice. The first step is to establish a daily alignment protocol. Each morning, before diving into the day's activities, take time to align your vibration with the certainty of scientific faith. This is not a mechanical ritual, but an internal attunement process. Start with a silent affirmation that everything you need has already been provided. It is not a request or a hope, but a declaration of a truth you recognize. All that I seek is already mine on the spiritual plane, and is now manifesting perfectly on the physical plane. Then deliberately manage the emotional state of having already received. Feel the gratitude, joy, security, and peace that would naturally accompany the full manifestation of your desires. These emotions are not reactions to external circumstances, but conscious choices made independently of current reality. Throughout your day, practice present moment awareness, the ability to stay grounded in the now, where your power to manifest is strongest. When your mind wanders to future worries or past regrets, gently bring it back to the present, to the only point of real power. A crucial component of practical application is what Wattles call thinking in a certain way. This means vigilantly monitoring your thoughts and emotions throughout the day, ensuring they remain aligned with your faith. When a thought of doubt, fear, or scarcity arises don't fight it. Simply observe it without judgment and then replace it with a thought of certainty, courage, and abundance. Also practice anticipatory gratitude, being grateful for something before its full physical manifestation. This is not just a manifestation technique, but an acknowledgement of the truth that on the non-physical plane, your desire is already fulfilled. Your gratitude is an acknowledgement of this reality, not an attempt to manipulate the future. At the level of action, start making decisions like the person you are becoming, not the person you believe you are now. Constantly ask yourself, how would someone who has already achieved this goal act in this situation? And then act accordingly. This does not mean being reckless or irresponsible. Scientific faith never goes against common sense or integrity. It means aligning your actions with your high vibration in a way that is authentic and sustainable. A powerful practice is what we might call certainty detachment. You maintain a clear vision of what you want to manifest, but remain detached from how and when this will occur. This balance between focused intention and openness to universal wisdom is essential to scientific faith. Another crucial aspect is care with language. Your words are audible expressions of your internal vibration. Eliminate phrases like I hope, I want, someday I will, I'm trying. Replace them with I am, I have, I am, I do. Speak in the present tense, stating what is already true in essence. When seemingly contradictory evidence emerges in the physical world, and it will emerge during your period of transition, treat it as an echo of the past, not as a refutation of your new truth. Remember that physical manifestations follow vibrational changes with a temporal delay. What you see today is the result of who you were, not who you are becoming. Finally, practice what we might call vibrational awareness, the ability to discern the subtle frequencies behind physical appearances. Learn to feel the energy behind the events, circumstances, and relationships in your life. This discernment will allow you to respond vibrationally, not reactively, to whatever comes your way. These practices are not magical techniques, but alignment tools. They do not cause the manifestation. They remove obstacles to the natural manifestation that occurs when you are in harmony with universal laws. On the path of scientific faith, you will inevitably encounter obstacles not in the external world, but within yourself. These invisible saboteurs are the true impediments to the full expression of your faith, and overcoming them requires awareness, courage, and persistence. The first and most powerful saboteur is fear. Not just the obvious fear of failure, but the more subtle fear of success. Many people secretly fear what would happen if their desires actually manifested. They ask themselves, would I be able to handle this? Would I be worthy? Would people still love me if I changed? This fear of success creates a subconscious resistance that blocks manifestation, even when you consciously claim to want it. The key to transcending this fear is not to fight it, but to expand your identity to accommodate the new reality you are creating. Ask yourself, who do I need to become to receive and maintain what I'm manifesting? And then start growing into that new version of yourself. The second saboteur is impatience, the inability to respect the natural rhythm of manifestation. Impatience arises from distrust in the process and often leads to hasty actions that compromise your results. Wattles taught that there is an incubation period for each manifestation, just as there is for an egg to turn into a bird or a seed to turn into a plant. Trying to rush this process does not speed it up. In fact, it often stops it altogether. To overcome impatience, cultivate what we might call trust in divine timing. Recognize that there is a higher intelligence coordinating the countless factors necessary to manifest your desire in the most beneficial way possible. This intelligence operates on a perfect schedule that you, with your limited perspective, cannot fully understand. The third great saboteur is social opinion, the invisible weight of the expectations, judgments, and beliefs of the people around you. Even the most dedicated practitioners of scientific faith can be influenced by the vibrational frequencies of their social environments. If you are surrounded by people who vibrate fear, doubt, and scarcity, your own frequency will be constantly pulled in that direction. This is not a character flaw. It is simply psychoenergetic physics in action. Vibrations, like sound waves, influence each other. The solution is not necessarily to abandon relationships, but to become more aware of their influences and establish healthy vibrational boundaries. Cultivate relationships with people who vibrate at higher frequencies. Seek teachings and stories that strengthen your faith. And most importantly, develop the ability to maintain your frequency even when exposed to dissonant energies. The fourth saboteur is the need for control, the desire to dictate exactly how and when your manifestation will occur. This need arises from the ego and the logical mind, which believe they know the best way to achieve their desires. But scientific faith demands a surrender to the how. You maintain absolute clarity about the what, the desired end result, but remain flexible about the means through which it will manifest. This openness allows universal intelligence, which sees the whole picture, to orchestrate manifestation through the path of least resistance. For many, this surrender is the most challenging aspect of scientific faith. Our culture values control, planning, and predictability. But true mastery comes from finding the balance between directed effort and confident surrender. As Wattles wrote, "Do all you can do in a day, and do each action in an efficient manner. And after that, let go." In addition to these four major saboteurs, there is a more subtle obstacle, the practice of split vision. This is when you claim to see the desired result, but are simultaneously hyper-aware of its absence. This divided vision creates a divided vibration, which produces divided or null results. The key to overcoming divided vision is to develop what Wattles called truth thinking, regardless of appearances. It is the ability to maintain your focus on the end already accomplished, even while navigating the current reality that does not yet fully reflect it. This is not an exercise in denial or self-deception. It is recognizing two levels of reality simultaneously, the current physical plane and the spiritual plane where its manifestation is already complete. You honor the first while aligning your consciousness primarily with the second. Finally, remember that obstacles are not signs of failure, they are opportunities for strengthening. Each time you recognize and transcend a limiting pattern, you not only remove a block to your current manifestation, but you also strengthen your ability to manifest in the future. Scientific faith is like a muscle that grows stronger with exercise. Challenges are not your enemy, they are the weights that, when lifted repeatedly, transform you into the person capable of sustaining the heightened reality you are creating. We have reached the end of our exploration of Wallace D. Wattles' scientific faith, but in truth, we are only at the beginning of a transformative journey. What we share is not just information for the mind, but an invitation to a new way of being. Ordinary faith fails because it remains in the realm of wanting, hope, and desire. Scientific faith works because it operates in the realm of being, certainty, and presence. The difference is not in what you do externally, but in who you become internally. Wattles left us with a powerful triad. Think right, feel right, do right. That's the divine triad. When these three elements are in perfect harmony, you become a perfect conduit for universal creative energy. You remove all resistance to the natural flow of abundance, health, love, and all other expressions of wholeness that are already yours by right of conscience. Always remember, scientific faith is not magic. It's law. And like all natural laws, it works perfectly, but only when you understand it and apply it correctly. The invitation is now for a 21-day experiment. For 3 weeks, commit to living completely from the principles of scientific faith. Abandon the faith of hope and embrace the faith of certainty. Abandon faith in the future and embrace faith in now. Abandon the faith of wanting and embrace the faith of being. During these 21 days, rigorously practice the daily alignment protocol. Monitor your thoughts, emotions, and words. Make decisions and act from the place of who you are becoming. Stay true to your vision, even when faced with seemingly contradictory evidence. And notice what happens not just in your external circumstances, but in your internal state. Notice how you begin to vibrate at a different frequency, how you feel more centered, more confident, more at peace. External transformation always follows internal transformation. It may not happen overnight, but it will inevitably happen, because that is the immutable law of vibration and correspondence. Share your experiences and discoveries. Connect with others who are on the same journey. Scientific faith flourishes in community, where high frequencies amplify each other. And always remember the fundamental truth that Wattles left us. The external world always responds to your internal vibration, and the decision to change that vibration is now in your hands. You don't need to fight, you need to trust and act. Faith is already within you. Abundance is already all around you. The connection to the source is already established. The only question is, are you ready to live from this knowledge? The decision is yours, and the time is now.